He should have done. What were you using for crisp and dry?
Said full on olive oil.
I've been going for the 20-minute rule, but obviously lost track of time.
3 hours later.
Something's definitely different because we've got a blue border top and bottom.
Ah, well, there we go. Right, here we go, kids. Going live now. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Flory Models live with you, 7:30 on the 28th of May 2020. Another absolute scorching day, isn't it, Nath?
It's very nice out here for once.
It's not like Nath is in a dark room or anything, but he's naturally gone slightly shades darker.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he's very close to actually look at mine between XF10 and XF79.
So you get for going outside, isn't it?
Bless. Never mind. Hope you're all doing very well. Usual thing, guys, if you've got any questions, please post them up into the old chatty area under today. I know loads of you have. We've got them queued up already, but we're in this one tonight. So if you can put it on the show page in the forum, guys, for questions, we can read them from there, which you've already done as well. So thank you very much for all your questions. We'll get round to those shortly. So, guys, how are we all doing? How's it going, Nathan? Tornado's looking nice.
Yeah, it's nearly. I'm just slicing decals for silvering.
Yes.
And then the Flory washes are going on. I'm going to do the whole thing just using dark dirt wash. All the light stains a lot, so getting really close now.
Mm-hmm. I just noticed everyone's got their name under them as well. Something's changed with Skype. So just in case you are wondering who we are, this is Mr. Nathan Robinson with a little thing, and there's Mr. Molyneux there, and Mr. Ball, just in case you forget who they are.
How's it doing that?
Yeah, everything's changed. My entire setup is complete change, and also you guys are all out of sync on here now. Look, it's all a little bit freaky. Like Andy's over there. I don't know. Something's changed. Obviously, they've done an upgrade, a change, or whatever it is, but clearly I haven't noticed till now.
It's like a dodgy dating site.
Is it? I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I say you know because.
But yes, good afternoon to everybody and evening from right around the world. I must admit, I was a little bit disappointed with the SpaceX launch yesterday.
I watched it for about 3 minutes and then we've been in it, so oh dear, that's a shame.
That was it. I must admit, I started watching it with about half hour to go and it was getting quite excited. Then we were saying we're not sure about the weather, and then it was like, ah. So yes, never mind. It's
what do you think of the new spacesuits, Phil?
I think they're very cool. It's about it's how it should be, isn't it? For years we've been walking around like the Michelin Man, isn't it?
Yeah.
So now they're in these very slinky, modern, obviously taken from a sci-fi show in the 60s. You know? And it looks like they're wearing wellies as well, isn't it? So,
yeah.
But no, hopefully it will all go very well on Saturday. What time we got to get up for that one?
It's 8:30 in the evening again, I think.
Is it? I thought it was like 3 o'clock their time. So in the afternoon, isn't it? I thought it was 3 p.m. US time. So that means our way it'll be like 8 in the morning, 7 in the morning.
I don't know what time the launch is. I don't know. I'll have to check.
I'll have to watch, definitely. But yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, Andy, are you well? All good? How's life?
I'm well. I'm completely knackered because it's our mad season at work at the moment, so it's just very, 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 very busy. And I've been very, very busy, and it's been very hot and busy.
Very, very, very hot.
Very, very hot.
Very, very hot. And Matt, how are you?
I'm alright, yeah. I'm good, thank you.
Did we get a delivery this afternoon?
Yes, we did.
Did me mask set come in?
I have no idea. I've not opened the box.
Oh, right, okay.
Fair enough. Which I presume it has. In fact, yeah, I think it has because they look at the invoice. So, yes. I will get it in a... I was going to say jiffy
envelope.
Bag. You're not getting a blooming jiffy bag. You can have an envelope for that.
Charming.
You can have a stamp and an envelope.
A stamp and an envelope will all be good. Right, very good. Hello to everybody in chat as well. I hope you're all doing very well. Crikey, there's loads of you in there tonight. No, literally, there is a lot of you in there tonight. So I hope you're all doing very well. Remember, guys, got any questions and that, please post them over into the new system of putting them on the forum. General chit chat, knock yourself out. And we can go from there. So yes, for me, I had a day today because I have cut the front of my plane off. Dun, dun, dun. Shall I show you some photos? Because I took some photos. I know the guys have seen them already, but I took some photos on my phone of actually hacking this off. And you can see the scribblings of a madman when I'm trying to work all of this out. Where are we? We want to go me, and then we can go to closey cam. So yeah, this is what we did. Chop the front off. Oop, come on. Technology, eh? Oh god, come on. Right, okay. So yes, so I was working out in my bestest scribbles, you know, this is me working out my degrees of latitude and longitude. Obviously I took in all the, you know, anhedral, dihedral and all the other measurements. So yeah, you're right, I guessed it. I absolutely just guessed it. And where are we? Crikey, we're all over the place today. So yes, and then we wedged it. So we just got some plastic card and we've wedged it, and that's how we've wedged it. And then we did a little bit of backfilling, and then obviously we did a bit of rechecking, and down in here you can see how I did it, which I'll show you again in the other camera in a moment. But basically this was my workings out of where I want the nose to be and how it was and the angle we want it to be versus what it was and all the rest of it. And then technically we've got to this stage, so she is it in there like that, which is I think a lot better. So this is the scribblings of it. This is actually how it worked. So on here, if I pop this down in here, you can see we were like that up in that position. So I drew round it. That's how the nose was originally, bearing in mind I had it level on here, then I drew round it on there. That's the old profile as it was. So that's your fuselage. This top one is where it was before, and I've dropped the nose now down to this one, which when we line him all up onto the line, he is down in there like that now. So that's how we are with it. So again, it just shows how far out it was, because it technically was, or would have been like that. So we've angled it down. We've still got to do something with the windscreen as well, so there's a little bit of wiggle room in there, but we're just going to drop that in as well. So kindest cut was done, so we just chopped the front off, and you can see, and in true way I put it on the belt sander and we just went around, took it all off, and we are now good to go. So we've done that. We've also as well all done on the belt sander because I'm really lazy. We've reprofiled the tail, so obviously it's got the pinchy bit and then it goes up to the fat bit at the back where it didn't have before. All of it was like this, and then we've reprofiled it to have a sharper edge. So that one's done as well as I've been doing engines. So we've got engines sort of coming together now. Sorry, it's the wrong one. There's the engines coming together now. We've got tail, which is only fudged together. It's not even set. It's just literally as a loose, just to play with, see how that's doing. We have a wing together, and again we've put some infills into the intake so it doesn't like disappear to infinity. And again we had some holes right the way through which I filled from the inside, but as you can see we've got to do a little bit of work down the back here because we've got this wings don't meet, unfortunately, and to be honest we've got big gaps at the front, various things. Still got this one to go together because I need to do the infill down in here, so that's coming together as well. So yeah, as you can see, the reason we have some small little issues, as you can see on the front edges, holes and various things which need to take, but this one's even worse. Look at this difference on the back wing. So the question is, which one's right, top or bottom? So yeah,
for the top.
Stick to the top, that's it, plane it into the top one. But yeah, so apart from that, it's all coming together very nicely, not a problem. And you know, hopefully by next week we'll have it all together, sorted out, things like that. I've marked on here the windows that have got to go, because obviously this one's having the cargo door put in as well, so those two windows have got to be filled, and the forward window on this one and rear window on that one, the rest of them will stay. So yes, very nice. So for people asking, my version that I'm doing here, it was the very first VC10 into RF service, and it was the last, weirdly, which I didn't know until today when someone said it was the last one as well, and it's the one that's at the museum now. So yeah, very nice. So that was my productive day, sorting that out, and I went to Tesco's.
How was it?
I tell you what, I didn't go to Tesco's because I drove into Tesco's, saw them queuing for miles, so I drove round and came back out and went to my local again and just got it all in there. So there's no way I am standing there queuing and all the rest of it. So I just went to my local shop round the corner and basically got most things in there. Apart from tonic, you can't find tonic water anywhere.
Yeah.
It's like national shortage of tonic water apparently.
And they got it down at M&S at the garage.
I haven't tried that, I must admit. I need to pop down there. But seeing as I've been anywhere in the car now for 3 months, it's still on, like, I've still got 3/4 of a tank of fuel. And that's in my car, which drinks a bit of fuel, so...
Need to make the most of the cheap petrol.
Yes. Right, okay, so... I think, should we go straight into questions?
Yeah.
Okay, if you guys keep a bit of an eye on the chat, I'll start into the questions today. Okay, so first question up is from Gordon. He says, question, I've just painted the underside of my F4E with Mr. Hobby Aquitus H316. And he's now looking at that colour quickly. I want to weather some panels lighter and darker. Need something that will blend in and not just sit on the gloss. Or do I just go for an overall wash? A returner who is playing with as many new ideas as I can. Again, you got a couple of options for that. You can, you know, if you wanted to, sort of just have the original colour and then add something to it. So you can add a little bit of buff in there, you can add a little bit of grey in there, things like that to change it a little bit, and then just pick out panels and break it up that way. You know, technically from my point of view, I think I would just go through with a wash, straightforward to give us your panel line detail into that one, and then I would just, if you wanted to, just do the oil technique, which again, look at the Mobius build because I show it in depth on how to do just individual panels, so it saves having to mask and all stuff like that. And you can go around and do it that way and give it weathering then and different effects. And if you're using oils, obviously you'll get different hues as well from it. So some things will be shinier, some things will be slightly duller, so forth and so on, and you can do it that way. What do you guys think?
Wait, did you say it's underneath?
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't bother that much, to be honest. I'd give it a wash because who's going to see underneath?
Yes.
The 316 is white.
Yeah, it's like insignia white, isn't it?
US Navy
Yeah.
white, yeah.
Yeah. I know that's a bit of a lazy cop-out, but you've got to think of the work. You can put a lot of work into the underneath of something you're never probably going to see very much of. Do you know what I mean? So if you do more effort on the top, but to be honest with you, I'd go with the oils and just tint it with oils because it seems a lot easier. I've done it with this tank, to be honest. I've been doing a bit of oil rendering.
Yes.
Tank, and it's actually worked out quite nice, to be honest. So it's an easy, quick way of doing it. It's like say where you did it on your spaceshipy thing. It saves a hell of a lot of masking because you can be quite neat with oils, and then you blend it in and happy days.
Yes, definitely. The thing is, as I say, with whites and undersides as well, if you wanted to, you can give it more of an oily look with oils. And that's just to do like mild streaking and weathering and stuff if you wanted to. Again, have a look at any of my builds from Navy stuff like the A6, but obviously more newer ones like the Phantom. Which we did in flight because obviously we did all the weathering with oils and things under there as well because we were doing hydraulic-y streaks and that Phantoms get from where they bleed out underneath the engines and stuff, so you can actually do some quite nice weathering. But again, it is that thing, if you're doing it in flight it's a little bit different, but if you're just doing it on the ground no one's going to see it, so I really wouldn't worry about it too much. Lawrence, good evening Phil. Really like the Megatron review on the Challenger. Made me look into available modern armour in 1/35 scale. How would you rank Zvezda versus Meng? If you look into their modern armoured fighting vehicles these days, for example, the T90 Zvezda is around about €30, but the Mengs is around about 65. Hope you're all well. All the best from Amersfoort Fort in the Netherlands. Don't know. What do you reckon, guys?
I've built the Zvezda T90 and I've also got the Meng T90. The Meng is definitely a better kit. Whether or not it's worth the extra, because the Zvezda does build into a really nice version of it. I mean, and it's simpler as well. The tracks are link and length rather than being individual tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on whether or not you like spending days gluing bits of tracks together, or you like to crack on with it, there's nothing wrong with the Zvezda at all. It's a nice kit, but the Meng is slightly better.
Mm-hmm.
Is it double the price?
I was going to say, is it double the price better? Because that's where reviews I've done recently, like I've said, really, you've got the AMK or like the Tamiya Tomcat is my classic. Like I say, the Tamiya kit is far superior, but it's not worth double the money.
No.
So where would you go? Because I must admit, I don't know the kits. Would you think it's...
I wouldn't say it's double the price worth, money's worth at all.
Yeah.
My T90s are actually at the shop. Been up there for donkey's years.
Mm.
So since last summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I tell you what, Andy, you've got you must have a video of it then on your phone.
I have probably.
Yeah.
In fact, well, we'll have actually. Yeah. Might even have a photo of it.
Mm.
Saturday. It's not Saturday yet.
Yes.
No,
We're
it's
all
true.
on bated breath waiting for that one.
We are.
It's going to be like through the keyhole.
Hey, because we get half an hour break, we can go and do what we want until it's done.
Won't go for half an hour.
Okay, so we're probably thinking it's not worth double the money then.
No, but it is a better kit. I mean, it's the same as everything, isn't it? I mean, you can get cheaper versions of other kits. Yeah, so there are better things on it. But I mean, like the Meng T90, you can either get the one with the dozer blade, can't you, or the one that's got the lights.
Reactive armour, and there's one with a light on. There's
Have you done the T9, the Meng one, Phil?
No, I haven't done a T90.
No.
I had a T90 kit here for years. I had the Meng one that came with the electrics for the lights for that.
That's it, yeah.
Anti whatever it is. It's supposed to blind incoming missiles on it, isn't it, or something?
Yeah.
But I must admit, and it did. It comes with a little penny battery.
That thing was it? Oh, I can't remember. But yeah, it's definitely a better kit without a doubt. But it's up to you whether or not you think it's worth the extra.
Depends how serious on the model you are as well.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think so. Yeah.
Hasn't a T90 got big skirts on it as well? So if you're going to do all those individual track links, you're going to see them, are you?
Yeah, I think they have got skirts on them, haven't they?
They're saying in YouTube chat that the Zvezda T90 is a bargain. So
yeah, it is a nice kit.
If you can buy the Zvezda one, I still can't say it, you've got a lot of money left over for paints or weathering products, haven't you? Or another tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably buy two.
yeah, you could have two. Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably buy their BT70 or something else and get two for the price of one, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Revster then.
So Brian says, question about Mr. Surfacer 500 and Mr. Dissolved Putty. Are these basically the same thing, or is there an overlap in usage? No, they're definitely not the same thing.
They're really different, aren't they?
To be honest, the Dissolved Putty is literally like somebody just got a tube and gone in a bottle and then put a load of thinners with it, because it takes a hell of a lot of mixing it up. I'm not a massive fan of it, but actually I've used it on this. And it worked better than I thought it would, but it's got more body to it than Mr. Surfacer, if that makes sense. Imagine if you did it in a comparison, because obviously you go through like the high numbers like 1,000, 1,200, so forth, and you got 500. Think of like Mr. The Dissolved Putty as being 100. It's because that's how thick it is. It's really, really thick stuff. So that's more like 100. Then you've got 500, obviously, 1,000, so forth, going up, because it is really thick stuff. It dries pretty quick. I can't speak for it being really thick a bit because I've used it just on surface stuff, but it does work quite well. Matt, because I was using it when Matt was watching me do something the other day, wasn't it? And you were saying about it's really designed to be taken off with a lacquer.
With solvent, it's not designed to be sanded.
It's not really to be sanded.
I presume that's why it's called Mr. Dissolvable Putty.
Yeah.
Please in the name.
Fluid in the name.
Well, the thing is, I've sanded with it. It does sand very nice. There's no problem with it to sand it, but as you say, it's thick stuff. It's proper strong when it's on there. It ain't going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So.
Surface to 500 is really basically it's like a thick paint, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Whereas dissolved putty is basically that sort of stuff, which is just thinned.
Okay. It's just that.
Yeah.
Yes, that thinned, isn't it? It's
It's just like
you could just use that and add some leveling thinners, I suppose, to it, couldn't you? And get the same stuff.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
The dissolved putty will fill a bigger seam or scratch or whatever you're trying to fill.
Yeah.
So I was saying it's one of them products that perhaps needs more use.
Yeah, I think you need to play with
I've
it
got
and get
some.
used to it.
Because I've had some for ages and never really used it.
No. Well, I must admit, I got it out to use on this because I thought, well, look, it's going to be big filler jobs, and I need, you can use the sprue glue, but it takes a bit long to go off. So I thought it might go off a bit quicker. And to be honest, it did, and it went, and I used it on the B17 in a couple of little spots, and it worked. Fantastic. I can't fault it. It did do the job. It's not like it didn't do it. It did it very, very well. But it just felt, I don't know, not right. Because that's what I was doing, wasn't it, Matt? I was doing the underside, and he was like, you shouldn't be sanding it, you should get the old thinners out. So we did it and went round, and it did work, it did do it. So, perhaps it just needs a bit more playing with and seeing what it can do.
See, mine's nearly empty, because I do have used mine quite a lot, to be honest with you.
Because I've had mine 10 years, and it's like new, because I've never used it.
Yeah. It is really useful, like you're saying, if you put it on, say, like, joins that you can't really sand very well, and cotton bud with some lacquer thinners on, old school, and so take it off. It does a really nice job.
What did you used to do that with?
You used to do
Squadron Green, wasn't it?
Squadron Green, I used to do intakes with.
16.
No, you did it with something else. Not actually, probably only a few years ago. You used to do it on something, and I can't think what you were using, what filler it was that you were using, and you were using lacquer thinner to take it off.
On intakes, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did it on intake. I used to use it with Squadron Green. And I used to make it into a paste, put it in with a brush, so it sort of self-levels into like the intakes in the seam, and then leave it for a bit, and then come in, and then using like the Rustington's lethal thinners, and it would melt everything internally. And as long as you kept it wet, because as soon as your cotton bud started to dry off, it would drag it, and you put big scratches into it, and then you just keep it wet and go round it, and it just literally just welds everything up and goes quite nice. But that's when I used it with Squadron Green, but it was a while ago now. But I might have used it with another putty in general, but that was always my standard way of doing intakes.
So we're saying then this Mr. Dissolvable putty would be good for intake, say F16 intake.
Yeah, that's right. Something with a round intake, especially that's difficult to sand. Yeah, it'd probably be all right. I've never really tried it.
As such, like engines that come in multiple parts, and to get rid of the seams and stuff.
Yes. I could give it a whirl in these, to be honest, and see what happens in that. I'll chuck a load in there and see what happens. Get in there with a bud, and mind you, the plastic might just catch fire.
Any putty with solvent will shrink. That's why I only use it in the joints and clean with thinner. For proper filling, I only use Mr. Hobby Epoxy.
Yeah, I need to try some of these epoxy ones that I've got.
Man, Jim, what was that stuff you showed me on last night that you sent me? That aircraft, Mr. whatever it was.
Yeah.
I've never even seen it. I've never heard of it. It must be either brand new or something we don't get over. Well, definitely not in Europe.
But I've never seen it before. I heard of it before, so we'll have to do a bit of homework on that.
Stippler for aeroplanes. 371 under. Google it.
What's it called again?
Mr. Colour for aeroplanes 371.
But it's a big bottle as well. It's not 10ml.
It's gloss. It's got an FS number on that blue, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's for Blue Impulse. Did you read the thing at the bottom?
Yeah. But it's like Tamiya do the bigger bottles.
Yeah.
27ml bottles, whatever they are. It's like that.
Oh, just saying about Mr. Hobby Paints, right? When I had that delivery last week, I think. All the little paint bottles.
Yeah.
Do you know how when we're going from Hobby Company, they've got a little sticker on?
Yeah.
These have got like a pamphlet sellotape to them now on the little 10ml bottles. It's bizarre.
Does it unfold? It's like a map. It's like this big.
Honestly, I was like, what is this? Because it's like wedging in the blooming paint rack. And I'm like, look at it, it's got like something taped to it for the health and safety.
Jesus.
So I'm like, I said like the poor sod at the warehouse who's literally got to, put them on. Not a job you want, is it?
Not good. Hi Phil, my name is Herbert. I don't know how to change my nickname on the thing. Oh yeah, because he's up as Humby. Right, I will change it after the show. Can't do it during, because otherwise I come up as you for some reason. But I will do it after the show for you. Maybe you've already answered the question, but I was wondering what happens to the unpacked kits after your reviews? Are they for sale at a discount price at the PM store?
No, we're just chucking it to get.
Yeah, that's it. Once it's done, it's gone. That's it. They're thrown to the four winds. Two things happen to them. They either go to the store and we have our little section, which is our little cheap section, and they're in there. Or if not, when we do our auctions, which we usually hold them back for the auctions, and stuff like that. Other times there's nothing wrong with them. If I've been a bit careful with them, then one of our lot, one of you guys in that, we do you a deal on them and stuff. So that's how it works. But normally we hold them back for the auctions, and when the auction comes out, as we know, we usually say, review sample, so the bags might have been opened or something else, but we do it like that. So that's normally what happens.
Yeah. Quite a few of them are ours as well. I mean, because John lives near you, so a lot of them are John's that you get before he gets them, or they might be mine or Nathan's or whatever. Yeah. Or some of them are your own kits that you're having, and then stay your own.
Although I've got a pile here. You can tell we haven't got together for a while because I've literally got a pile taken over it. It's got to go back up to the store. So, yes, including Andy's F14.
Oh, hey, well now we can have a meeting of 6 people. We could have a social distancing get together.
Right, okay. We're going to meet up at some services somewhere halfway then.
We'll be at Teletubby Land for
that's it.
For a picnic.
Okay, so Robert says, hello everyone, regarding sprue goo, how do you avoid the pitting that results from using this type of filler? Pitting? When I say pitting, I'm referring to the tiny pinholes that appears once you get certain layers when you sand. Anyone had that before?
Is that a bubble in it, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It must be tiny little bubbles.
Is he shaking it up or something before he uses it? Or
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. In my case, every time I use sprue goo to fill the seams and such, when I come back to sand the area, I find that it has sand pinholes begin to appear the closer I get to blending it with the surrounding plastic. When I add another layer of sprue goo to cover these pinholes, it seems to get bigger. It's probably melting it and reopening what it is. When I come to sand it back again, I'm obviously doing something wrong, but I don't see many people mentioning this. Any advice on this? What may be happening? I can only assume perhaps you're shaking it and you're actually putting air into it, and then the bubbles are getting trapped and they're probably trying to work their way up, but because it's thick, are getting stuck. And then when you sand it, it's doing it. To be honest, I've been using it a lot today. I made myself up a fresh batch, and but again, I don't shake it. I suppose I do a little bit, but not vigorously. So maybe when it sits here, it's getting to the surface and coming out, but I haven't had that happen.
Is he using proper styrene?
Yeah, so there's 2 things I always say about making this stuff up, which again, it's amazing the amount of people get it wrong, okay, and then they say they get shrinkage and stuff like that. I don't really get shrinkage with this either. To be honest, it's on this, and so far we've been all right. If you use a good quality plastic card, do not use sprue. I know we call it sprue glue or styrene putty or whatever we call it, but the thing is, if you use styrene, can you imagine if you'd use this in it? It would just never probably go off. It would just stay soft forever. So you need a good quality, and I must admit I've got, as you say, this is like 1 mil. That's what I put into this to type this up, but it's refined, it's good stuff, so it's not like actually using sprue. And then to be honest, I just put Tamiya extra thin, the normal one, in it, so never had a real problem with it either. I know some people use, what's the stuff called? Used for pipes, plumbers stuff, and they use it for plastic pipes. But again, I don't like using that because that's probably really, really aggressive stuff. You know, it's that stuff they use for plumbing and all those things as well, which melts it, which is roughly TET anyway, but it's obviously a more aggressive type of it. So, you know, but it may be a case of what are you using rather than anything else. It might be something else.
Nearly 8 o'clock.
Oh,
Last one.
the last clap,
The last clap.
8 o'clock.
I'll push
Well
my-
done, everybody. Well done for us for doing this for the last, God,
10
how long?
weeks.
10 weeks, yeah.
10 weeks.
10
And
weeks
you could
times
just
6.
select people.
So it's like 60 shows we've been doing these. So yes, well done, everybody.
Yeah. And tomorrow I'm off up the Peak District to test my eyesight.
Oh yeah, apparently this is true. I thought about going somewhere really miles away as well.
Yeah.
And then I might need to pee and have to stop at somewhere exotic.
Yeah.
My only question was if his eyesight was crap and he's driving a car on a road,
Yes. Yes. There's,
Yeah,
to be honest, me and Matt were discussing this the other day. We were saying it's that point where shut up. You're making it worse now. Just stop talking.
Yeah.
So,
Watch
yes.
Michael Gove trying to explain it away. It's hilarious.
Oh
I
yeah,
watched
I
it. I
know.
did watch that. It is brilliant, isn't it? It's
Literally. Oh, it's like car crash. It's so funny.
just
was.
going back onto the sprue goo stuff, one of the guys also mentioned it in chat, says maybe he's putting it down too thick,
Yeah.
trying to build it up rather than putting on small, thin layers, you know, trying to put too much down in one go. But
Is
it still
anybody
should
else
bubble, should it?
separated? Mine's got like a sediment in the bottom.
Well, so
Where
I've
it's
just actually made a new batch, so I can't really comment. I did a new batch.
Mine's
No.
got sediment, and if I want to do a thick seam, I dig out the sediment with a cocktail stick and apply that.
I can't tell because I did a lot of fielding and I wrapped masking tape around it.
Yeah, so I know which is which. I've got another one over here.
But mine's sort of settled into the corners of the jar, and you get a really thick.
So I have two versions. I have a really thick one, which is this one, which is probably the consistency of, I don't know, something very thick. And this one's more like double cream. So this one's good because it self-levels. But I must admit, I've never had trouble with pitting in it, or not as far as I know. I get it a lot with using super glue. Because if you use super glue and kicker, it's obviously the reaction, it's oxidizing whatever it's doing, it's releasing it, then you get it. So
I don't know the thing is, but have you ever noticed that the Japanese label is different to the?
yes,
It's a different colour.
yeah, I've got them as well. Not to mention it hasn't got any English written on them. Don't know which ones these ones are.
I've only just noticed that. Well, the Tamiya extra fins in English.
Yeah, no, but the what's the
It's a
other one I
completely
had?
different, completely different label, isn't it?
Yeah,
Don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, just thought I'd mention that. Oh, I've got another one here. This is a newer bit. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
okay, so question for Matt. The Ryefield Models 1/35 scale Challenger 2 will be in soon. I did say put me down for one. How does it work for invoicing and payment? Thank you very much for all your team does in these bad times. Andy, take it away.
That'd be me. On Saturday, when I'm in on Saturday, I'll invoice everybody via PayPal. So you'll receive a PayPal invoice for the cost of the kit and also including the postage cost as well. So me and Matt will then box them all up on Saturday, ready to go as soon as they're paid.
Yep. That
Simple.
sounds like a cunning plan.
Yeah. And what we basically use is the email address that you've used for the Flory models, because we know that that's your PayPal account, and then Or if you've already done it through PM, then we use the email accounts and then email things, because that should be linked to your PayPal account.
And also make sure your addresses are up to date.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Rob's just answered the question to Robert about it, and he was saying about his blah blah blah. Anyway, he was saying he used Tamiya Quickset, and he was saying the gases were getting trapped when it was gassing off, leaving tiny holes. So perhaps it's Quickset that does it. I've never tried it with Quickset, so I wouldn't know.
Me neither.
No, I mean, no. But there you go. You need to knock some up and do a test.
Yeah, do a test.
Tamiya Quickset will melt when he's doing that second coat. I bet the Tamiya Quickset really does melt it.
I wonder what it's like with Cement S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I tried it with a few other things, and Tamiya works a lot better. A lot of it's to do with the shrinkage factor. For some reason, the Tamiya extra thin, it doesn't shrink as much as other things, because when I was playing around it with other more industrial chemicals, shall we say, some of it was proper shrinking, other things it was melting more than anything else. So it's finding that balance, and I just found that extra thin works really well for it. It was pretty much on a par with another chemical I was using at the time. So,
Yeah.
yes. Anyway, Dennis says, hi guys, I'm gearing up for my next project, the Dragon 32nd BF109E3. Wait for it. I have a question. Can I use Tamiya's retarder for lacquers on normal acrylic paints?
As in, what's he calling normal acrylic paints?
I think he means that one, which, yes, you can. Because
does he mean the
No, he's on about the little bottom retarder.
is he? I thought he meant, can he use retarder for lacquers? Oh, right, okay. They do a lacquer version of that one, don't they?
Yeah.
Right. That works with XF range perfectly, because it's the alcohol base, because obviously you can thin the XFs with lacquer thinners.
Yeah.
If you're going to start bunging that stuff in Vallejo or something, I would probably say no, because it's a lacquer one, not an acrylic. Where probably the one Andy's got, which he just showed, would probably be okay. But if he's on about proper Tamiya like the XF up there, then yeah, it works fine, because I've done it. So he needs to shout back if he's on to tell us what paint he's on about, and then we can probably answer him a bit better.
Yeah.
Is it a true acrylic or a alcohol-based acrylic?
Synthetics,
yeah. He also says, I want to thank you and the guys for keeping the home fires burning across the last couple of months. Back here in New Zealand, things are really bad, and I have lost my job as well, which kind of helps as you chaps don't come on until the middle of the night. Seriously though, thanks Bill for keeping the modelling mojo alive and well. I'm looking forward to seeing the PM models Saturday evening. Ooh. Hopefully. No pressure there, Andy. Hey, you'll be fine.
Tighten it up, make it look good.
Yes. Richie says, what kit do you most regret selling from your stash and wish you still had it?
Oh, I'll tell you what mine is. That Argus sold it, by the way.
You better not.
I'm absolutely gutted. I've had to get rid of it again. But it happens, doesn't it? Business is business.
They're still available.
Yes, that's it.
I'll tell you what mine is. My Gannet. Fairy Gannet, 1/48 scale. Classic A-frames.
Do you know? Funny you should mention that, because mine, it also was my favourite Gannet. Until I got another one.
Nathan.
Yeah, seriously, it probably was actually the fairy Gannet, and I've been after that off map for about 18 months, if not longer.
Yeah, at least. And I caved in like a muppet. I still ain't seen any payment for it.
I'm not thinking.
To be honest with you, I ain't got one, because everything is probably kits go through my fingers, like, you know.
Yeah.
It's flavour of the month for one day, and then I'm not bothered about it the next. But there are a few definites that's in my stash that I won't get rid of ever. But one No, I can't. I don't think I've got one because I can always think my thing is I can get it again.
Yeah, well, that's what we say, isn't it? So
Yeah, one way or another, I can get it again. But yeah, I've definitely got a couple in the stash that if I did sell them, I'd be paying a premium to get them to replace it. So they're definitely not dead. So yeah, there's mine.
Nave, what do you reckon?
I can't think of anything. I think the thing that helps me is I'm willing to go up and down a scale or two. So I can't think of a kit that I've sold and wished I had never sold it. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Nothing comes to mind if I'm honest. You know, like I said, there's plenty. It's not like I've got a shortage of other things I can get on with.
Yeah.
See, I honestly would class myself as a collector as well as a builder, because I do have a lot of kits. Well, not hoarder.
Order, yeah, that's more like it.
But you know, occasionally the wife will comment about how many kits I've got and suggest like, yeah, I've thinned the herd a bit. But then, as I'm going through them, I'm always very selective on which ones I'm going to get rid of. And usually the ones that I get rid of are the ones that I can get back again.
Yes.
Right.
So the ones that I do want to keep always get kept, except for Gannet.
Is that going to stop you building it then? Because once you've built it, you can't get it again.
Yeah, no. Well, some it is. For example, that the Eddard's limited editions that I've got that you can't get, and I don't know. But the main reason why I probably won't build them is because they've been superseded by better kits, like the Phantoms, which are the Kamori do better ones now, and the F14 where Tamiya and MK do better ones now. But yeah.
So why keep them?
Because they're
like your children. You can't give them up, but it's not a habit.
I'm not putting under pressure to sell them. I'm just asking if you know they've been superseded. You know what's the point of keeping them? But that's obviously my way of looking at it, not your way of looking at it. That's all. I'm not. In that respect,
as collector's items, though, they're still quite sought after.
I agree.
And fetch a premium for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, you probably still sell a Tamiya F14. The Eddard F14 Danger Zone for a similar sort of price as you would for a Tamiya F14. Why, I don't know, but.
Well, don't you think that's a bit of a downside with the Eddard kits in that respect? These limited edition thingy boxing, because you know they're not going to be around for very long.
Yeah.
So you buy two to hoard one and keep one and build the other one, or you're just buying it like pretty much like people have done with Wingnut Wings, just to collect them.
Yeah.
Rather than build them. Do you know what I mean? What do you think, Phil?
No, I agree. I think Eddard is a classic example of people collect them rather than build them, because again, it's one of those ones. If you as I say, from that, I had the one with it was a MiG-21 and the Skyhawk.
Yes,
and it came with the print.
Yeah, Sound of Silence.
Yeah, Sound of Silence. Yeah, well, I sold that one. Wish I hadn't. So, but again, that's probably the only one I regret. I should have probably kept it. But again, that's not from a modelling point of view. That's more of a collecting point of view. Because I've got Dotty May over there and all the rest of it. But it's, like the P40 I built. But it would have been quite nice to keep those kits because they are no longer available. And you will pay stupid money for them if you want them now. But that's more from a collecting point of view than a build point of view. But again, to be honest, from the other side of it, from a build point of view, I'm with Matt. If we want them, we'll just go and get them. As horrible as it sounds, but it's pretty true. And the great thing is as well is that in our position, because we know the reps as well for these manufacturers, if we did say to them, do you know of, they might be able to go around and find one. Which comes in quite handy as well. So if you were desperate for one, they might know where there's one when they're at doing the model shops and stuff, and we might be able to get it that way and various things. So, and in the business, I know a couple of people do second-hand stuff as well, and I can say to them, can you keep an eye out for? But I'm not paying a fortune for it, But again, we always said you're either a collector or you're a builder. So if you're a collector, that's why these kits go for stupid money on eBay, because that's collectors doing it. It's not normally a builder, you know. And especially when you're in the situation, like classic example is the Edard, some of their boxings, because obviously Danger Zone, where it's got the Hobby Boss F14 into it, that's actually a mediocre kit compared to what you can have now with the AMK one and the Tamiya kit, but they go for silly money because of the boxing with all the bits and pieces in it, which is fair enough. So, but that's because you're up against collectors, and they're quite happy to pay because it's going to sit in their collection. And like me, like I've often said, my dream is to have a collection of all the Tamiyas from back in the day right to now, which is something I'll work on when I retire. So I will be that person paying stupid money for a particular one because it's the only one available, you know. So
yeah, the thing is though, where you got an advantage with Tamiya is most of this stuff's still in production.
Absolutely, yeah. But you know that one kit that's not, you'll pay a bloody premium if you want it, because you know that's the trouble you'll be into. But again, that's just the thing for it though. We've often said though, you know, unless you're like Andy, he's a bit of both. You're normally either a modeler or a collector. You know, and I don't begrudge both sides of it. I think it's great, but you get a lot of people who I know personally are friends of mine, and they've got a massive stash. They don't build anything. Yeah, they watch the reviews, they follow along, they're members of the site, but they don't actually build, or if they do, they don't build their stash because it's too nice. They build other stuff they get in and do it that way. So, you know, which is fair play to them. It's still part of all with the hobby. So
what's your view on that, Dave?
You see, I was at the weekend, we spotted, because I forget the name of the person that posted it, the Wingnut Wings damage box thing on Hannants.
Yeah.
I was hovering on one of the albatrosses, and then I remembered I've got the Edard 48th one. So I tend to approach it like I want to build an albatross. And now I can't get the Wingnut Wings ones, I'm happy to go down to 48 and build the Edard one.
Yeah.
So the Edard one's nothing like the Wingnut Wings one though.
But that's my mindset, is I want to build a thing.
Yeah.
And I will, like, if I want to build another Buccaneer, I'm not going to pay £80 on eBay for a 48 one. I'll just build the 72 one. And I've still built a Buccaneer. I've built a stash to do every post-war German fighter aircraft. And I've tried to do it all in 72, but you know, I'll go up and down the scales if I have to. So I've got kits that I've regretted not buying more than kits I've regretted getting rid of. If I'm honest, I've regretted not getting a Wingnuts Albatross when you all got them at Telford. But I've got the Edard one. I'm not looking to complete collections. I'm quite lucky in that respect.
The thing is, though, you can't see to the future of what's happened with Wingnut Wings, can you?
No.
That's the problem. You've got to make a decision on the day, after model show, of shall I put my money into this? Shall I invest into this kit because I'm going to build it? Or, by, you know, like we were just saying, if it's there, and what did I pick up? That P38, wasn't it? The head of P38 at Antwick show for a song, really, wasn't it? Let's be fair, it was for now. That went into the auction. But... You know, but that's what it was for. I was never going to build it because if I wanted a P38, I'd build the Tamiya one because it's a better kit.
See, I had my hands on that kit before Matt got hold of it.
Yes,
and then he had it, and then he said if I'd have had it, it'd still be in my stash.
I know, he made me buy a TA4J Skyhawk, and now you can get them normally anyway.
But you know that won't be around that long.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing is, again, that's the the classic example is the Wingnut Wings. Let's assume Wingnut Wings are gone and they are no more. You know, over the next 6 months, those kits are going to go for stupid money, okay, and then they're just going to get higher and higher and higher and higher, and that will put me off. There's no way I'd build a Wingnut Wings kit because I'm not going to pay 200 quid for the privilege. You know, that's the point. So that's where I become a builder. And even though I do this for a job and everything else like that, and yes, obviously the company could afford to do it and to do it from a work point of view, the moral side of me that think I'm not paying 200 quid to build a Wingnut Wings kit, you know.
But on the thing then, that, like you've just said, because they are going to go for stupid money, that is taking it out of the hands of a builder.
Yeah, it will, absolutely.
That makes sense. It's going to be, like you say, it's going to be for the collectors because they're willing to pay
Yeah.
300 quid. Well, if you're going to build it, you know, they're not going to pay that, are they? Let's be realistic. I think, you know, unless you are so into that aircraft and it's your own thing,
yeah.
fine. But most casual sort of, it might take your interest, or it might be like, say, for the Luftwaffe SIG, but I won't be paying 100 quid, never mind 200 quid to have the privilege. So again, it just takes it out the realm of I was going to say the proper model. That sounds a bit harsh, doesn't it? But you know, the builder rather than the collector. So yeah.
And I can't believe no one will buy the moulds of them, or even off the whoever looks.
Well, don't know, do it. That's again.
But again, don't forget, if you're going to be buying the moulds from the company, one, obviously, you know, that's assume, and again, this is totally hypothetical. We don't know. But that's assume they've got receivers have been called in for the company and the company's being liquidated, you know, then they will obviously probably put those moulds out, but those moulds have got Wingnut Wings written all over them. So if you know, that's assume we had a company, we're actually, all we will technically be doing is reboxing Wingnut Wings kits. And we don't know from a legal point of view how that would stack up either, you know. Bearing in mind, those moulds are worth a lot of money in scrap metal alone. And that's the thing you're up against as well. It's not like you're going to be paying, you know, a couple of grand for these and have them like that. Because as we know, the moulds alone would be worth in scrap a hell of a lot of money. And we know of other companies who have sold off their old moulds because they were getting tight on money. And, you know, that's what happened. It all went and got turned back into cash. So it just depends. But would you want, as a company... And say you are, you know, a moderate company, shall we say, not Tammy or anyone else like that, but would you then take on another company's moulds? Because everyone's going to know it's not yours. All you did is redoing it.
Doesn't follow Rebel, does it?
For example, Copper State Models.
But there again, classic, Copper State Models do actually a really nice job at what they do. So would they really want to be known as using somebody else's moulds and not their own?
Can I just put in here and just say, it just right, we'll use again the hypothetical Copper State Models. If you were running that business, you'd be like, well, one of my main competitors is just gone.
Yeah.
But you could fill your catalogue really quickly without much effort by...
Okay, but from a business point of view, and this is me being a self-employed person since I was 23, I would want people to know my company for mine.
Yeah.
Because that's like me buying a franchise and calling myself Burger King. I'm not Burger King. I just own a franchise. I don't own, it's not my burger recipe. I've never set up that business. I've just paid 35 grand for a franchise and then flogging all their stuff. Isn't that the same type of thing? Would you want to be known as that person?
Well, that's where it needs to be like a management buyout sort of company.
That's it. That's why, to be honest, Nate, I think you know, that's why I wondered if it was all a little bit sneaky. And I still have there's part of me that thinks this is what this is. I reckon that perhaps, you know, the administrators have been called in with a company and then they might have a couple of the guys in there club together, get some money together and buy it. Because they're still Wingnut Wings, it's still their company, they know it inside out, and then they move away. And to be honest, my late father, that's exactly what he did. Like, his company he worked for went into liquidation, and then him and two other people bought all the stock. They changed the company, they still had the company name, although it was known then as Auto in general, because there was a car side to the business, but then they just changed it to A&G, and then just carried on and took the tool side of it. You know, which was a clever little way of doing it because it was them and everyone knew it was them and it was their business still, so they didn't lose any faith and just carried it on. So
they're very conspicuous by their silence, aren't they? Let's be fair.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Even though with everything going on at the moment, I'm not skeptical, but I do wonder by its quietness and the way nothing's been moved, and all this NDA stuff that's going on around that apparently they all took a handshake to leave and stuff. I wouldn't be at all surprised if it doesn't come about that they've had a management buyout, some of the guys have come together, they've done a share thing between them all or whatever it is, all become a director of the company, and then it carries on in one form or another. And it might not be as we know Wingnut Wings now, but it may be a version of, you know, even if they took on a few of the parts of it and flogged the rest off to make some money or something, I don't know. But it's very, I think it's that thing where people have often said to me about, like, why wouldn't you just buy their stuff? But would you want it? Because it would be seen like a franchise, you know. And I know there is companies out there, and don't get me wrong, there's obviously Hasegawa, obviously in with like Italeri, and you've got Kinetic, especially with Italeri, and obviously Italeri supply Tamiya for 70-second stuff. We know it all goes on, but they're also their own companies themselves. It's not like they've, you know.
I tell you what, the only one I know of is the old TriStar kits that are now coming out through Hobby Boss. So you can take an old company and they're using their molds, but it's now under the Hobby Boss label, but they actually TriStar kits. And I'm just trying to wrap my brains. I definitely know that one. Obviously TriStar have gone. So they've obviously, Hobby Boss or Trumpy or that company has bought their molds and got their molds. But I can't honestly think, because obviously like the old Esky and Italeri thing, well, Italeri did Esky molds anyway. I think they told them originally Italeri, didn't they, for Esky?
Yeah.
So Revell bought up all the Matchbox stuff, didn't they?
Yeah, Frog's been bought up by Novo and who else? Somebody else as well. Like the old Frog molds have been round to everybody. Every man and his dog had a let's be honest.
And in modern times, you think Frog has now restarted and they're using Academy.
Yeah, which is weird, isn't it?
The new Frog is now, it's all Academy molds. So there is ways of doing it. It's just that, you know, again, when you're talking about these are old molds and the various things, the way these companies done it. To do a brand new one, I just think it'd be like having a franchise. You would be known for you. Everyone will know it's not you, it's Wingnut Wings, which is fine. But, you know, you would some way want to be, if you're in that industry.
It's also
like the Formula One team, isn't it, that's got the clone car of the Mercedes this year.
It's very similar to how Edard started. I mean, I know that they had some of their own lines of World War One kits, but then a lot of their stuff was like reboxing other manufacturers' kits, wasn't it? With then adding the extras to it as their limited editions.
I think that's the thing Edard had there, because they were the extra. They could add stuff to the kit.
Yeah.
It just that's how they sort of like did it, if you know what I mean. I mean, the old SU-25 you've got in your cabinet is the old KP kit, in it, and then they did the SU-17 or 22 and some of the early stuff. But they obviously, that's where their limited edition sort of rose from, isn't it?
Yeah.
Still doing it now, to be fair, aren't they? As like our kits and Drevster and whoever else who's a good kit, and they add their bits to it. So I don't know.
But also, the big thing is, out of it, we'll do this one and move on.
Yeah.
The company's failed, and let's face it, we've often said that if they had done a Spitfire and something just to pay the bills, I still think it's a very niche market that they do. And because of the quality and the level they're at with it, none of it's cheap. You know, it's not like a Revel kit that's been stamped out a few billion times, is it? You know, this is high quality right the way through the entire kit. They cannot be making that much on every kit, and they can't be selling that much of. As in units. So, you know, it's not like they've flooded the world with them like other companies do. So it may be that, you know, from a company point of view looking in, I'm sure there is probably companies that are circling just to see if they can get a bargain, you know, but it is a very niche market to do. Would you really want to invest a couple of 100,000 into it?
I don't think Revell would be interested in most of they might have one or two of the molds. Like the more popular ones, but who's going to buy the molds to that Felix though, or the Gotha thing?
Or some of
the to sell a few thousand, don't they, to make it?
So that's sort of why I said Copper State model, because it's their sort of like it's their thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but the thing is, all right, let's just throw a figure out there. That's just simply say, right, somebody says, right, you can have all the molds and all the bits and pieces and the infrastructure of the company for sort of, you know, 3 million, 4 million, something like that.
Yeah.
For a company like Copper State to do that, have they got the money floating around, or the investors to say, go on then, we'll all have 10% in that, you know? That's the thing.
Take a long time to get it back, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's the problem, isn't it?
You know? And then you get something like Wingnut Wings and they fold, it's, you know, it's almost like Tamiya folding. It was a bit of a bolt from the blue, because you think they've probably got a nice little company going there and everything else. And, you know, obviously it just shows horrible times, as we know. But, yeah. Who knows? Never mind. Get someone to send me an offer and we'll think about it. And then we get all the membership to chuck in a couple of £100.
Yeah, we'll have the crowdfunding.
Yeah, we'll crowdfund it and we'll see.
Yeah.
So yes, right, okay. Phil, the barrels that you used for the 132nd Tamiya Mozzie build, I've looked on ScaleMate and they're not listed. Yeah, it's the master barrels I used, like these. They do them for it. I think they're 303s on those, aren't they? On the underside.
303 Brannings, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
They'll just be a general 303 Browning in 32nd, won't they? So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. And Richard's obviously just watched it because he says, yeah, Phil used the master ones. You can find them on Hannon's. Question from Mark. What was the reason for you switching MRP paints to Hatakas, please? Phil, I get on okay using acrylics, but find they don't stand up to handling very well, as I find the paints rub off raised areas such as rivets despite being primed. Unfortunately, my flat does not really lend itself to being able to have a decent extractor. Thanks for the live shows. Recently thought yesterday I had turned on after 3, only to hear the show that that was it today. Yeah, well, me and Matt went back to the normal time of 2 till 3. Switching over, really, again, the thing was, we had a play with Hataka, and I actually just prefer them, if that makes sense. I got sent a starter set when I did the Crusader back in the day. So for me, I went straight from Tamiya to MRP. Loved MRP, but because they're really, really thin and pre-thinned, you can't make them a little bit thicker. And for bang for buck, Hataka and Tamiya lacquers, to be honest, you get a lot more for your money because you can, you know, thin them to whatever ratio you like. And that's the trouble, because coverage for greens was always a little bit iffy. And a lot of their colours, it's like they just need a bit more pigment in it and a bit more stuff, whatever it's called, the thicky bit, to make it cover. And that was the trouble. Classic example, I used almost a whole bottle to do the camo work of the green on the Mozzie, yet used half a bottle with the grey to do the entire thing. Don't know. But yeah, it's one of those strange ones. But again, there's no right or reason to it totally. It's just that we did it, and to be honest, we fell in love with it and then tried to stock it, which took a bit of work, and then we did. So the rest is history, but that's a few years ago now. Would have been 3 years ago now. Happy days.
There's also a value for money, isn't there? Because what are they, £3.30 for one of them?
Yeah.
And you could probably thin that
3 times.
Yeah.
I usually do my standard type of thing.
Yeah. Whereas one of them is like £5.50, something like that. I can't remember what they are now.
Yeah.
And you know, you can't really thin it, so what you get is what you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Or what you've got is what you get.
It was the green coverage that put me off MRPs. From buying a lot of them.
To be honest, it did it when I was painting my 72nd Blenheim, and I went through it like it went out of fashion because I've just gone down and I'm thinking this is 72nd, just using anything, and it just wasn't covering. And I think I switched back to using guns. But you know, I think everybody's got their own personal opinion on it, so you know, it's just what we prefer and what we sell.
Yeah, that's it.
So.
But yeah, and you know, now really you got the Tamiya stuff as well. Love that stuff as well. Between the Tamiya lacquers and Hataka, because the nice thing is you mix it how you want. So if you're doing things like with white, you can make it a little bit thicker, so it's got better coverage. And if you want to do like with weathering, you thin it, and you know you can go each way with it and stuff like that. It's just that I've never really, you know, been able to do that and mix colours easily with MRP. The others, it's just old school way of doing it, I think. So it's just what you get on with and you prefer. But for coverage point of view, Hataka is really, really good. It's as good as the Tamiya lacquer stuff because that covers really well as well. So, but yeah.
Can I just get a question out of here for Matt or Phil?
Yes.
Phil or Matt, which I know you've already mentioned before, but obviously you haven't said it. Now lockdown is lifting, do you know the plans for opening the PM store, open days and airbrush courses?
Airbrush courses, I would hold off for the minute on all of that.
Yeah, they wouldn't be allowed under the
because yeah, that ain't going to happen for a while.
No, an ad for opening the store. Well, that's like I mentioned yesterday's up in the air because my daughter's still off school and I'm working and my wife's still working. So we've got childcare. So as is, it's staying put for that reason. When she gets a date or when the schools reopen, then we'll like sort of re-evaluate it on opening and what happens.
Initially, it'll just be collections from the store, won't it?
Yeah.
Not coming past the counter.
Yeah.
We can collect from the store until.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit click and collect. So you put your order in online. We'll take off the post costs. It'll go back to how it was, and then we'll make a arrangement for a time for you to come and get it.
So as I was listening in my van, I was driving along yesterday. You likened it to, was it Argos?
Yes, click and collect scheme. Yes.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah, it's going to have to really, isn't it? Until
Shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you think about how many people used to crowd in, you'd know where you could do 2 meters.
No.
Or,
Definitely not.
No, you got.
Can you imagine it on a Saturday in there? That ain't going to work. Social distancing, everybody.
rearrange everyone for one person to go to the loo.
You'll all be given a rubber ring to put round yourself, and then between 2 of you wearing them, you can't get 2 meters to each other. We have no stock left on the shelves of room bumping into it.
They don't get through the blooming flat thing, will they? On the counter?
That's it. We'll get past the trade counter.
We'll feel like it's a knockout. Yeah. So anyway, going back to what I was asking. So yeah, it's stopping as is for now, and for definitely for now. Because let's be honest, lockdown ain't been lifted. I think everybody's getting it in the head. Lockdown, it's not been lifted. We've got a few more, freedoms, but we're not out of it by a long way.
No, that's it.
So yeah.
Okay, Paul says, hi all, can someone please shed some light on Mr. Colour self-leveling thinners? What is it? What does it do? Do I need it in my life, etc.? I was wondering what to use it for and where's best to use it. Paul. Crikey. Yes, you need it. If you use any type of synthetic paint. So if you use Tamiya paint, Guns, Aquitis, if you use any type of lacquer paint, anything else at all, trust me, it will just smooth out your paintwork. So if you often suffer from texture with your paintwork, so it's a little bit rough when you feel it, that will stop all of that. It makes everything go to a very nice satin finish. Basically, it's a retarder that's built into the thinners. So it slows down the drying time, not by much, just by a few minutes. And what that enables everything to do is just to sort itself out, level itself out, hence its name, leveling thinners. That's what it does. I've been using it now for the last, long time. Even before I used it with lacquer paints, because I used to use it in Tamiya paints and Guns, Aquitis, stuff like that. If it's got a flammable symbol, you can use it with it. If it doesn't, i.e. model colours, things like that, then obviously it'll turn it all to toffee and glue. But yeah, generally it's my go-to. Tamiya do a version as well. It's a little bit more expensive doing it this way, but the orange top. So yes, basically we all use it, don't we?
Hey, can we just go back? It actually thins model colour white top brilliantly.
Oh yeah, sorry, it does do model colour white top brilliantly.
But for whatever reason we've not figured out, it must be the retarder in it, but it works brilliantly for spraying white top.
Yeah, I think also the thing is as well to remember that when we did the testing for it, one little disclaimer, it worked perfectly with the Mr. Hobby one, but when we tried it with other people's like Tamiya and that, it didn't work always as well, did it? There's something in this particular brand that works with everything, but when we tried with other lacquers, it went awry. And we don't, to this day, honestly, know why. There's just something in the Guns leveling thinners that seems to work with everything, because we were putting it through polyurethane stuff as well, weren't we? So we put it with Steinel Res, we put it through Tamiya One Shot, all of those ones are all the same thing, and it worked beautifully. You could sand it instantly, it was nice and smooth. We got it to work with everything, but then in testing with the guys on the forum, stuff like that, they were saying it wasn't working when you tried it with other thinners, and we tried it with other thinners and then found out actually it doesn't work with everything.
Yep.
But if you're going to try it with a paint that you've never used it before, mix it in a shot glass.
Or a bottle top or something,
Yeah,
definitely.
don't mix it in your airbrush.
No, Nathan, don't mix in your airbrush, do you?
Don't
I always
mix in
think
your airbrush.
when I know what's going to happen.
Who does
Yeah, but
that?
there's always that chance that you do.
Anyway, Joanna's back on. We haven't seen Joanna for ages. Joanna, where have you been? I hope you've been healthy and well and safe and everything like that. But anyway, she says, hi guys, I've been away for a while, but back now in the hobby. I have a question for Phil. Oh God, I'm nervous now. I was wondering how much time you wait after putting on primer to start the rest of your painting. In the videos, it's always clear how much time between primer and the rest of the paint process. Thanks in advance, Joanna. Depends. Normally when I'm doing priming, it's normally the next day. I tend to prime up and then leave it overnight. So for me, it could be, you know, sort of 12 hours later, 18 hours later, then I'll be into paint and stuff like that. I will leave the room after priming and stuff. Other times, if it's smaller little things, I might just prime it up and then a couple of hours later I'll prime it. But like, you know, for instance, this will go into primer next, and this will be, you know, right the way through job. So that will definitely be left maybe even a couple of days, because it's a big overall model. I want it completely dry. And on bigger models, sometimes you have areas that got more primer than others. So again, making sure it's all completely dry everywhere. On a smaller thing, if you were just doing something like this, I might prime it and literally half hour later I'll go over it with paint and stuff like that. But it would just be a thin light coat. But if you're doing something big, sometimes you can get a little bit over the top with paint and not really notice you've done it thicker. So yeah, that's it. Normally overnight though. I usually tend to do painting on big jobs like that as my last thing. So you know, that's the thing where it'll sit here overnight, dry off. I'll come in the morning, have a look around it. If it needs a sand or whatever it might need, then I might go over it, and then I might do some couple little places, might need a little bit more. I might then wait a couple of hours and then come back in and paint it. But because of work and the way I work and doing things, what I'll do is I might do something and then go off and do orders or manufacturing side of it or emails or whatever it might be, and then come back and carry on, so forth and so on. Or I might even be working on another model. So, but usually I would say, you know, if you can, give it 24 hours to go off. If you can leave it longer, it's better. We often talk about cracking of things, primers peeling, coats not drying properly. A lot of it you can track back to it just hasn't dried. And it's probably gassing off under there, and then obviously it causes problem with the coats on top or peeling and things like that. So if you can leave it as long as you can. Always the way. Yes?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, absolutely. It's not good to be gassing off.
Don't be gassing off. Trust us.
A lot of it also depends on what primer you're using, doesn't it? If you're using a something like Mr. Surfacer, needs a lot longer than a lacquer based one does.
Yes.
Yeah, these take forever to dry, whereas lacquer based ones.
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, at least.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm thinking of giving my Tamiya A10A Thunderbolt 2 148 kit a bash. Good luck. I know it's a bit long in the tooth, has raised panel details, but I've never rescribed anything before. I'm afraid it's more on the dark side of the hobby on AFVs. Could you point me in a direction of a good tutorial or rescribing? Searched the site but couldn't find one. Also, is it possible to still treat raised details on an aircraft with weathering like you do on a 1/35th scale tank, i.e. oils for shadows and highlighting with a dry brush? I'm a new member here. I just wanted to let you know that it's been the best discovery of the lockdown. There you go. Thank you, Ewan. Yeah, again, people will always tell you that that kit is the most accurate shape. We often talk about the A10 about the nose is always wrong. Everyone says that particular kit, the nose is right on it. So there you go. I've never built it, weirdly. It's one kit I've never touched. I know people who have done a very nice job of it. For rescribing wise, there is a couple of videos in the tutorial section. If you go and have a look at those, you can see about it. You've got options of literally just sanding it all off. You'll see where you were and then putting them all back in. If you wanted to though, you could just leave it all as raised, and we said before you can use washes like you were saying, so it just tracks down each side of the panel line. You give it a light dry brush on the surface, does the job. You can do it that well. You know, I've got it on this little guy. Well, can't reach him because he's out of the way, but we did it, which he's all raised details when I did it on the Trojan when we were doing the old classic kits and things. So again, it's one of those ones where if you want to rescribe, then you're into it, just go for it. If you want to do the washes and stuff, you can. The clay wash, you can even butt it up to it as well, or just let it self-level across it, wipe it off, and then it'll go against the panels if you want to do it that way. What do you reckon, guys?
Well, Andy's built the kit, so what do you do?
Well, since it was probably about 40 odd years ago.
Well, it's brand new kit then, was it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It was lucky if it ever got anything at all, to be honest with you. Probably emulsion paint on it. But I've done the old Airfix Hurricane, which was raised panel lines using Phil's wash. And like I said, if you sort of like go against rather than go, don't, when you're wiping off, don't go with the panel lines, go against the panel lines. It still stays in the edges of the panel lines. You get a really nice effect with them as well. So, there's nothing wrong with raised panel lines. They're harder to put back in if you have to take them out for any reason for, going across the tops of fuselages.
That's the problem with the race. Like the fuselage off where you have to sand the seam, you lose it. That's where it becomes a problem. But I did that JU86, the artillery one, which is all raised, and to be honest, that was oils, I think, or whether that oils, and actually you can do airbrush effects as well.
Yeah.
To make it stand out and stuff. So there's ways around it, but it's how far you want to go, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you're going to go down the rescribing route, you're into it. You're going to have to rescribe the entire thing, and away you go. And it's just one of those. Depends how good your rescribing is. If you want to do it, then knock yourself out. Normally, if you're going to go raised, personally, I'll give it a wash of dark dirt wash right the way over it. Even if you do circle motions, you can take it off that way, but use a dry cloth. Okay, have a little bit of texture over a satin coat. It will just butt up to everywhere and it'll look absolutely fine. You can thin it a little bit as well. We said thin it with distilled water is preferable. Preferable, is that a word? Probably not. But anyway, preferable. But yeah, so you can do it that way if you wanted to. If you do, add a little bit of dishwater soap in it just to help break the capillary action, and it will naturally flow to everywhere then. And it will just hang on to all the raised details. You do it that way. Once it's totally dry, dry brush it. Just give it a very, very light dry brush. Makes it pink.
I was going to say, Nath must have built a few with raised panel lines.
What I've always done when I'm doing it is I'll only scribe back the major panel lines. I've also seen it suggested that this is something that javelin, prime it and then scribe the primer. Not for plastic. I've seen that suggested as a technique, and if you go wrong, you can just build up the primer again and scribe into primer. But scribing is a pain in the arse. Pardon my French.
I've seen somebody or must have read about it who actually described it when it was painted.
Yeah,
that's brave. Because
obviously then you don't want to slip.
No, you don't. Not at that point.
Confidence. That's confidence in your scribing abilities to do it painted. But yeah, it's I'm thinking it primered.
But sprue goo is your friend.
Yeah, sprue goo for taking care of slips. Definitely.
Yeah, but it's the A10s, it's the fuselage and the engines that would be. Gosh, that wouldn't be much fun.
1977 that kit came out.
Grand, yeah. 2.
I was 11.
I'm actually surprised you've never built one, Phil.
Not that kit. I know it because it's raised panel lines. I avoid it. I went straight to the Hobby Boss one, to be honest.
That's my first thought when you said A10 rescribing. I thought, sell it and get a Hobby Boss one.
Have you actually ever owned one?
I have owned one, yes, and then I have offloaded it. Yeah. I think I looked at it and thought, oh no, it's raised, and offloaded it. But then the purists out there will say it's the best one because it's got the best shape. So, so yes. Steve says, hello all, I'm new to the site, getting back to the hobby for over a year now, really enjoying the shows. I'm looking to build a 1/48 scale F8 Bearcat by Hobby Boss. I've never built a Hobby Boss kit before. Are they any good?
What?
I must admit, I don't know that kit, that's the only thing.
To be fair, it'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, Hobby Boss, as we always say, are actually pretty good. It's your usual thing. Sometimes you have the odd little bit of flash floating around them and stuff like that. But Hobby Boss, do some good stuff.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hesitate in building it, put it like that, because it's Hobby Boss. Hobby Boss, even their old stuff isn't that bad. It's all pretty good stuff.
I was going to say it's normally the accuracy that they get bashed for. It's actually not the building of it.
No.
The builds are normally pretty good and straightforward. I don't think I've any problems with an Hobby Boss kit.
Yeah.
I've built a few. I've enjoyed every one I've done. The plastic's kind of almost Hasegawa style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a plastic.
They've always got good detail.
Yeah.
Generally no fit There's a couple of fit problems on some of the old MiGs, isn't there? But I like them. They're just wonky indeed. They're just shape issues.
Yeah.
That's their Achilles heel.
I don't know about the Bearcat, I must admit, as I say, but yeah, occasionally Hobby Boss, they seemed almost to rush them. We used to say years ago that it was almost like you had a Hobby Boss release every week. Between that, because obviously their parent company being Trumpeter, it's like, you know, a merit, wouldn't it? Between all three of them, they had something coming out like a couple of times a week at one point. But it was almost like they were rushed because there would be silly little errors with them. And it was like, you know, fair enough. But then somebody normally do an aftermarket fix and away you went. So, but yeah, generally, I would say give it a go. Should be all right. It'll definitely be in the ballpark, put it like that. Chris says, hi guys, just checking when the COVID SIG is finishing. I've read somewhere that it's June the 30th. Yes, that will be when the SIG will end properly. Tomorrow afternoon, for the last of the live shows, I'll take you around it and we'll have a look at all your great work in there to see how it's coming along. But it will run for another month on that one. Graham says, Nathan, is there a difference from the ejector seats from the Tornado GR1, GR4 and F3?
I think in real life there is. Something with the head boxes got changed on the GR4. I've looked at pictures and once they're this big, you'll get away with it.
Yeah, that's it. Probably won't notice in there.
But my understanding is something in the head box got changed on the GR4, but I'm not. That's a good question to put to the Tornado SIG on Facebook. There'll be people on there that'll tell you exactly what the difference is.
Yes.
Oh, the Mark 10As.
Yeah.
Is it on the Tornado?
But I've never seen a kit company make GR4 seats. They've all done Tornado seats, and I've looked and I've tried to work it out because I've heard people tell me their boxes are wrong for a GR4, and I'm like, are they?
In 70 seconds, they look all right. Yeah.
It's just, I mean, they're that big, aren't they? Once the
yeah, it's not a problem. Andy says, hi all, received my Iron Maiden kit today. Perfect as always, thank you. Question, have you got the Challenger with the add-on kit in stock? If so, how much? I can't find it on the site.
Nope.
Are you picking it up tomorrow, aren't you?
Tomorrow or Saturday morning, depending how tomorrow goes. But yeah, either tomorrow or Saturday morning they'll be in. But we've got the pre-orders to get through first, so
I think they're all spoken for, aren't they?
Well, we're going to see what happens when I see my man. So yes.
Delving around in the dark corners of the modelling market to find another pallet.
Yeah, it might be that case. we'll see.
Right.
Watch this space.
Yes, we'll see what happens.
What space? Night, anyway.
Yeah, but the pre-orders, apparently you're all safe. It's fine.
Yeah, pre-orders is fine.
Okay.
They've sold very well.
They've sold very well, yes. We sold all our allocation, but we'll see if we can get some more. So Matt's going to go with some sweets, some flowers. Try and chat him up. Wear your leather chaps, you'll be fine. Andy says the launch has been rescheduled. This is obviously for the Dragon, going up for Saturday the 30th at 3:22 Eastern Standard Time. Is that ET? I think it means. That's 8:22 p.m. TV will begin coverage at 11 a.m. Not in this country, it won't.
And anyway, we'll be on air Saturday night, so we're not doing note with it.
Well, I'm going to watch it.
You are not.
I am. I've watched all the launches. That's all right. I'll watch it on another screen. We can say there it goes.
Have we had one in the background before? Where we
did it before. I had it on before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We'll get a copyright strike.
Yeah, no change there. We normally do.
Was it the one where it landed back down?
Yeah, it's when it was coming back down, wasn't it? We watched it coming back down.
Yeah, I remember that. We could always just have it running on the iPhone, just on the desk.
Yes, that's it. Stephen says, stupid question probably, but can somebody explain to me? Well, I agree. Micro Sol is the setting solution, and micro set is the solution for placing the decal solution. Common sense would be. Do you know what? I am absolutely the same. I have never understood whilst they've done it that way round at all. I just know the red one comes last.
I get confused by the other one, that setter and softer Mr. Hobby. They all baffle me.
Yeah.
The one that smells of vinegar you use first in it.
Yeah.
It's the one that looks like PVA glue.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the Neo Mark setter, isn't it?
Yeah.
It looks
That's
like
got these
thin
two.
PVA glue. Yeah.
That is PVA glue, I'm sure it is, because I let some go dry out in a dish.
Right. It just went to.
Honestly, it was PVA.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. For once, at least they're logically named then.
Yeah, but the other ones definitely aren't. I don't know. I reckon they just fudged the first one and then couldn't be bothered to change it.
Yeah.
Phil, I know you like ICM kits. They do make a line of 1/24 scale car kits that are interesting. Maybe good for review sometime. Do they?
Yes, if you like a Model T Ford or
Oh, those ones, yes.
or the vintage sort
Yeah.
of bone takers.
1910 sort of cars.
Yeah. I mean, I bet they're really good and I bet they're really nice.
The
Again,
wheels.
I think it's niche, if I'm honest. A bit of a niche market for that sort of really early automobiles. But,
Yes.
you know, it's interesting anyway. Interesting subjects.
Who's the one we had the other day? Was that whose kit was that? Did I do the review of it? The bus, and then they did it as the troop carrier, didn't they? What
Oh,
company
that's
was that?
Big Art, isn't it? The
Oh,
Big
Oh,
Art.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
These
that's quite
ICM
nice.
kits are even older than that thing, aren't they? They're the ones that look like horse and carts rather than cars.
Yeah, they are. They're a carriage with wheels
Yes.
and a 1 horsepower engine. You can get out and walk faster than they think when.
Wooden wheels.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael says Eastern Express are planning to release a 1/4 scale Boeing 747 SP hopefully later this year. I've read somewhere very mixed opinions on Eastern Express kits. What's your experience? Limited for
Nathan?
me.
Nathan.
Yeah, I think it's one of those you have to judge each kit on its own merit. I think they've got some right humdingers. But that's one of those. Just wait for somebody else to buy it and put a review or some images on scale mates. But like a lot of these companies, is it KP and them lot, the MIG that I've got, now CAD CAM design is in the process. These companies have just taken a massive step forward, haven't they?
To be fair, some of the KP stuff now is really good.
Yeah.
But old KP stuff is just...
I know, but God, that was from back behind the Iron Curtain, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
We're all right these days, but just wait. Don't be the first person to buy one.
don't Sir Evster do one of them in 144? They do a load of airliners.
Yeah, I thought that. Oh, yeah.
The SP's the really short,
It's a stumpy one, isn't it? Yeah.
long range one, wasn't it?
So they've just bought out a Tupolev in 1144, some Tupolev airliner.
I think Zesta do the Dash 800s. The modern
Yeah, they do the big dash. Yeah, they do the 747-800. So I reviewed that one. So, yeah. Oh well. Dino says, hi guys, quick question. Procon airbrushes, are the needle nozzle sizes interchangeable, i.e. 0.2, 0.3? And do you stock them as spares?
Yes, they are interchangeable because I have a 0.3 that I've changed to a 0.2.
Yes.
The nozzle, so yeah, that's right. As for spares, I have actually got some, and somebody did ask me weeks and weeks ago to actually, and they need to go on the site, so we'll see how Saturday goes, because obviously Saturday's going to be a bit of a busy day invoicing, I think, to be honest. But my man here,
Yes.
we'll get a chance, but we'll get the spares up at some point, because it seems to be going a bit quieter, shall we say,
Yeah.
because it was just mental again after last Saturday for this week. But hopefully, well, not hopefully, but you know what I mean, if it calms down a little bit, I'll have more chance then to do a bit more with the site.
Yes.
It's just a back seat for the past 10 weeks, if I'm honest. It's put stuff on because obviously I'm not there all the time. So Yeah.
Usual thing as well, guys. If you do need something, shoot a message. If you don't see it, shoot us a message, and if we might even have it anyway. If not, we can certainly get hold of it for you.
Yeah.
Glenn says, hi all, maybe a question that's been asked several times before, but here goes anyway. What oils are a must-have for aircraft with Abteilung? I have smoke, buff, yellow and starship filth. I've tried to put some pictures in the modelling chat area on the forum of it. I think it worked, I hope. You've got them. That's my go-to ones, to be honest. That's literally what I'm using.
Neutral grey?
Yeah, I've got the neutral grey. But say the buff, neutral grey, yellow, starship filth, you're good to go. Because the yellow you can use with greens to lighten green.
A blue to go with the greens.
Yeah, if you want to darken them as well. So you've got the blue.
I think faded navy blue is the other one that's very common.
Yeah. But really, you've got them there. So you might want to go with the neutral grey, because the grey is always quite a handy one to have just to mess around with, just to off-shift stuff as well. And maybe a blue for darkening up things, because you can use the blue with the black as well.
Yeah.
You know, various things. So, but you've pretty much got it, you know.
Yeah.
It's one of those. If you want a collection, help yourself.
Yeah.
Tony says, hi gents, I've just finished painting the Trumpeter 148 scale Grumman Panther. It's a very nice sea blue. The photos seen online of this aircraft in surface shows them fairly clean. I was just going to use some of your light wash to go over it and then wipe it off. Do you think this would be adequate, as it doesn't seem to show any heavy weathering? Tony, in the best part of Devon. No, you're not, Tony. You're in the north of Devon. That's like where fairies and trolls live. That's why no one lives up there. South Devon, clearly. But yes, to be honest, they were kept very, very clean back in the day, because they were new. It was a new thing, wasn't it? I think when the Panther, the first operational US Navy jet.
Possibly. Andy's got one sitting on the shelf with worn out silver bits on the front of the wings, ain't you, mate?
Is it not dry yet?
Is it? Yeah, is it dry?
It's still not dry, yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, I would keep it quite clean. You might want to do a little bit to it, but I wouldn't go over the top with it. They certainly didn't have chipping and, like, you know, scars and all that type of stuff showing through, because I think they were quite new back in the day, so they probably looked after them quite well. You know, what is this thing without a prop, without a propeller on the front? So I probably wouldn't go over the top with it, but again, it's personal choice, really.
I think I'd still probably go with a dark dirt rather than a light, and take most of it off, just so it's got something in the bit of contrast there to see, but I think the light would just be too stark on the blue.
Won't grime be better?
Oh, grime, yes, yeah.
In selected places where it probably would, not all over it, but selected bits of grime wash instead of dark dirt.
Yeah, and also don't forget, I know you've got all the washes anyway, is that you could put down like a grime, and if you think it's not working, then just make up another batch and just lighten it maybe a little bit and then put that on and see where you go with that. And again, if you don't like it, you can go over it again, just darken it out. So don't worry about washing it off, just recoat it and just keep going over it, or just say pick out specific areas that perhaps have more grime and wear to them than others, and you can literally do it that way.
Say it will be grey, wouldn't it? The grey wash.
Yeah, or just, you know, just say if you've got the grey wash or a bit of light and black and things like that. But you can make a dark grey wash and do it that way, see how you get with it. But say that blue, it's a really dark blue, isn't it, on those?
Yeah.
It is.
It's really, it's sea blue, isn't it? Dark.
Yeah, glossy sea blue.
And glossy as well, proper shiny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jason says, question: what airbrush cleaner do you use to spray on your models to clean them off before painting? Also, do you let it air dry or wipe it off with something? To be honest, I usually use acrylic airbrush cleaner, which is the old Vallejo stuff, and my microfiber cloth, which is this one, which is I usually put a squirt on the cloth and then just wipe it over the model. And then if you have got some areas where it's stuck in there, I might get in there with a brush and just flick it out and get rid of it all and do it that way. But I don't use lacquers or alcohol or anything else. I just literally always just use that. Never had a problem. Don't know.
I don't. I'm terrible for it.
He doesn't even do anything.
I should know
Blast
better.
it off.
Heretic.
Yeah.
I thought you'd be there with your tacky cloths.
Oh, Only if I'm doing glossy work I do, but if it's just going to be from there.
I just blast it with the airbrush before I start.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you say, same thing. Sometimes I'll go over it with a blast with an airbrush just to get the dust, blow it out of everywhere, make sure it's all clean. But if it's stuck in panel lines, then I'll usually just go along. I've got quite a short, stumpy brush with bristles, which are hanging off, like this guy. No, it's not. It's that one. Here he is. This is the one I use because it's knackered and they're really sharp and knackered. But it's great because it gets out all the, like there, all the filler dust out of panel lines and out of rivet detail. And then just give it a wipe over afterwards, and then normally it dries within a couple of seconds anyway. So
I know Rob used to spend hours with a toothbrush, didn't he? Cleaning every single panel line, every single rivet. He was there for hours, wasn't he?
He used to polish everything, didn't he? To get all his plastic to a really high shine.
Yeah, but to be fair, if you see Rob models, they were nice.
Yeah. I was going to say, the good thing is we're immaculate.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
The rest of us just chuck it on and away we go.
No, for the best.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
Sand it out later.
Yeah. He used to go home from pretty much every show with a medal, didn't he? So
Yeah.
that's the difference.
Bless. Peter says, could really do some recommendations on this. I'm building a P-51 model of a full-size Mustang pilot. The aircraft that they fly has a jump seat in the back. Oh yeah, like the TF-51s. Does anyone know of any aftermarket parts on the 1/48 scale kit? Okay, the trouble with that is they have a different canopy. They actually have a bigger canopy to make a TF-51. It's been spoken about before. Scratch building it wise, well yeah, you just take out the tank and the radio equipment out the back and do it that way. It can be done, and then scratch build the back cockpit and various things. The problem you're always going to get, the canopy isn't the normal P-51 canopy. It has a slightly different profile to it, and I don't know of anybody who makes an aftermarket one.
I suspect they're all slightly different because I get the sense they go into a shop and it's like a custom application, isn't it? So I bet the seats are all a little bit different from one to the next.
It is, again, it's one of those tricky ones, and I wish somebody would actually bring out a kit. It'd be quite nice. It's a bit like I get asked, and I kid you not, at least twice a year, no, honestly, about once a month, for somebody asks me, does anyone know of a two-seat Spitfire? And I'll tell you why it is. There's a very good this one. It's normally partners of a person who's gone on a pleasure flight, and the first thing they ask is, does somebody do a kit of it? Because they want the kit, and they'll get asked for commissions for it, or they're a modeler or into it in some way, and they are after a kit. And as far as we know, the only option is 72nd, isn't it? Somebody does a 72nd one.
Yes.
Which I can't remember whose it is now, but I said if somebody ever did a 48 scale one, I think it would go quite well. And it's a shame because other people have done, because like Sea Fury, isn't it? There's a two-seat version of that. Was it Special Hobby or someone did it? So
No, is it MPYML or somebody do
someone
it?
like that, but they did it, and so there is other aircraft that have been conversions and they've done it as a proper normal, plastic kit. But as far as I know, nobody actually does a 48 scale two-seat Spitfire or Mustang, which is a bit weird. Do you think somebody would?
Can I just get a question that's in here, Phil?
Yes.
Alan says, so it wasn't Alan, it was... Anyway, one of the guys was asking about 3D printing. Would you think it'll take over from resin aftermarket parts? And there's a bit of a discussion about it. And as a home user, the biggest problem with 3D printing is you have to be very, very good at CAD if you want to do your own things. If you don't want to do your own things, you then got to buy the CAD files for them, which can cost you more than it is to buy a resin part. So you might as well go and buy a resin inject seat rather than actually buying the CAD files so you can print your own. I've done quite a few resin prints. I've got a resin printer and they do some really nice detail. That's not particularly brilliant, but you get some nice detailed stuff from them. It takes a long time. One guy said, it's smelly. But I think for home use, it's definitely there at the moment as a decent, if you get a decent resin printer. but you have to be very, very good at CAD if you want to be producing your own stuff, which I'm not. And I've got a 17-year-old who I'm trying to coerce into doing it, but he's more interested in playing games on his computer than designing bits for me.
That's because it's quicker.
Yeah.
And more interesting.
More interesting. I've done quite a few bits in resin and what have you. But these are all downloaded things off the internet, and it's mainly fantasy wargaming stuff that you find. Yeah, sort of like like.
You got any of them spare heads?
Yeah, I keep them streaming to you.
I think there's one up there.
Yeah, one of them.
Because they're off, what's it called, isn't it? The Warhammer, the Space Marine, isn't it? But he's up in like one, whatever
blown
scale
up.
that is.
Yeah.
Got a big head.
Yeah.
But to stick one on his little proper body.
Yeah, that's it. Be like a bobblehead.
Bobblehead.
Got a little spring on him.
But, yeah, it's just it takes the time to do it, and also they take a long time to print.
And they smell.
It'll catch up when it'll catch up in.
It will. It'll get there. It'll be fine. One day it'll be. I'm gonna have a replicator in the corner. That's what it'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, we just whipped through these last questions because we're slightly over here. David says, I'm currently building the Ryefield Models Abrams Tusk tank. Could you please recommend the best reference book? Ugh. Pass. Google.
Sorry.
Google. That's always good for references. Google. They do some fantastic.
Or Bookworld Wholesale.
Yeah.
They've got brilliant books in, to be honest. Yeah.
Christian says, Wingnut Wings, maybe the company is not profitable because the production costs were too high. So no one is interested in buying the company or the molds. We will never know, I tell you. By the sounds of the way it's all very sticky beaky in with the company, I don't think we'll ever find out. I have visions of them just disappearing. If Wingnut Wings have bought out a lot more single-seat fighters, especially French, somebody might have bought the molds. I'll just say who knows. What kind of optimizer are you guys using at the moment?
Go on, Andy. Show us how. A McGonagall.
One of them. And what they're called?
Yeah, so we need the name.
I'm reading it off here. It's Donegan.
Donegan Optivisor. Both me, Matt, and you got one, Nathan.
No, I
me,
don't.
Matt, and Tom.
I'm old school. I'm like, mine cost 15 quid off of Amazon.
These are we use number 5 lenses, which is actually a 2.5 magnification. Yeah, no, very, very good. Work well, do the job.
Cool.
I
Okay, Les says all tornadoes all based on the Mark 10. No visible difference in model form. Apparently.
That's good. That's why I can't tell the difference.
That'll be why you can't tell the difference. Paul says, when are the bigger value sets of sanding sticks back in stock? Honestly, I don't know. To be honest, I am waiting for an email back. I've emailed my said manufacturer today to find out when, and I haven't heard anything back from them, which is unusual, which I take it as in they don't know themselves. So I'm waiting to hear back on the information. The good size is pigments, as in the actual pigments. These pigments will be back in stock next week. I've actually had confirmation through that they are on their way. So, but the problem is they're on a 48-hour courier and they're probably coming on Monday. Then I've got to, getting me hazmat suit and do them all and stuff like that. But I know we've got something like 16 of you have got pre-orders down for the packs of them. Yeah, they're in, so that's fine. So I've got, actually the lids are on their way in already. They should be here tomorrow, and the pigments are due in obviously on Monday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, they'll be back up on the site. As for Wash Dark Dirt, don't know, waiting to hear back on that as well. Do you sell binoculars, as I need a pair for my 1/72 Scammell I purchased from your review? Build part of it on the same sassy and put it on the shelf till Christmas, or by better eye test. Detail is very good. Very small, even with an optimizer. It's beautiful little kit. I have to say, it's a great little kit. That's Roger, by the way. Quick basic question. What is the difference between Tamiya Basic Putty and Tamiya White Putty? Putty users?
One's grey and one's white.
Well, probably. I was about to say that.
Isn't the white one finer?
Is it?
I
Okay.
don't
I've never
think the
read
basic
the-
one
Yeah.
not fine.
I've never had the basic one. I always had the other one.
I have a feeling, because I've used the basic one, because that's the grey one, isn't it? And I think that is the difference. One is a finer finish. One's more like a general putty. The other one, you can, it's like if you're doing cars, especially stuff like that for a mirror finish. Yeah, you want a finer putty. I think that's the difference. George's regret with selling his 132nd F-16 Thunderbirds markings. Yes, that's a sought after kit these days. Les also depends, because he was talking about the Hawk seats. The Saudis are similar to the Hawk. The RAF had slight mods, but not much. A difference, you have a post or pre mod. Colours were different. There was a toned down mod of where the original was a lighter grey than the modern is a darker grey. So not a lot of difference, to be honest. Especially
Didn't Hawks have lightweight? Not. But they were lightweight ones.
Pass. Phil says, Phil, I was, to be honest, because we've run out of time today, I've got yours queued up to show, doing the show and tell, and I'm going to save it till next week. Or we'll show it on Saturday, because Phil's done an amazing job on that Puma.
Oh, yeah.
I've got, because I forgot all about, we usually pick out our favourites of everything, or ones to look at this week, and I've got yours queued up here. Anyway, not a problem, we'll show it next week. But anyway, it says, question for Nathan, is there a good HE 111 reference book?
Yes. And oh god, it's the it's the company that do them in they do them in 2 languages, and it's by a fella named Andreas, and he's the one that does the Shop of Phantoms. If you go on Shop of Phantoms, it's that range of books. I've only ever bought the modern ones, but he's done 2 volumes of Heinkel 111 books. I'm trying to see if I can spot them dead quick. I think I can. But have a go.
Like I said, I'm surprised there's not loads of books and reference for 111 out there.
It's the same company that do these.
Oh, them books.
Oh,
They're
right,
really,
yeah, I know those ones. Yes,
They're really good books.
good books.
So they're usually about £15, but they're good. And he's done 2 volumes. I think he's done early and late.
So what are the books called? Who's the publisher? Have you got that?
Problem is, they tend to have. It's one of these companies that split their brand names up into so many different things. But I think if you type in ADP, or you go at it from Shop of Phantoms, because his latest line is he's specialising in Phantoms.
Good.
It's the same person that does Wingman Decals as well.
I think he sells them, doesn't he? At Bookworld Wholesale.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin at Bookworld Wholesale. Go onto their site. They have them.
Yeah.
Seen them at
Airdoc. Airdoc is the company.
Airdoc.
Bottom at the back here. But I'd recommend that one.
We ought to get Justin on one day.
Where we should ask him when we see him
When
again.
we see Justin again, we'll get him on, because he's a mind of information. If you haven't seen it, he's got a fantastic book. Goes around all around the shows. You've all seen him, trust me, or you've seen his books.
Yeah.
But yeah, does some great books.
He does. Yeah, we need to get him on, don't we?
We need to get him on. We'll see if we can get him on. We'll have a bit of a giggle. So yes. Anyway, there we go. That's it for us today. Thank you very much for watching. We think we've got everyone's question done as well, so that worked quite well today for the first time of that one. So we'll be on with you tomorrow afternoon. Oh, I don't know if the guys will, but I'll be on with you tomorrow afternoon, and for obviously a bit of a catch-up show and everything else. The next part of the B17 will be up with you tomorrow, and then obviously be another part on Monday, and then obviously we'll be on with you on Saturday night. But don't forget, have a look at the Flory Models site. Because it might not be live on YouTube, but you can still watch it via the Flory Model site if you want to get in that way as well. So,
What time are you on tomorrow?
I don't know, probably later.
Yeah, it's clear.
Say go on at 3.
Yeah,
Right, are
alright.
you around?
I should be. Yeah, I should be back.
Oh, you go.
Yeah.
Me and Matt will be on, and we'll get the guys in if the others ones are around as well. So we'll be on at 3 o'clock as well to go through. But say, be a bit of a catch up. Say, we'll have a quick look around, obviously, the forum, have a look at your great work. Obviously, we'll get the gallery sorted as well. I'll do that in the morning. Say, you've got the B17 part up. And then hopefully, I'll do a little bit more to this, where I'll be clubbing baby seals with it, probably, or something. And we'll be going through that way. Remember, guys, if you like the show, give us a like and all the rest of it, because apparently we've only got 180 people watching, but I don't think that's true. I think we've probably got a few more. But according to this, there's only 180 with 3 likes. That's so sad. Anyway, so there we go. That's it from us. Thank you for watching. Happy modelling. Take care. Stay safe. We will see you again very, very soon. Bye.
Bye.